And Amy, when we talk about all the different format styles, I think if my understanding is correct, you're creating this content with the understanding of different learning styles. Your community
Yeah.
learns and digests content in different ways. Maybe talk a little bit about that.
Yeah. So actually, I could jump to some slides that I have on the different learning styles if you want. I have
I say
some.
go for
Yeah.
it. Roll the dice.
So there's 7 different learning styles, and when we are creating content, we're always thinking about this. We're thinking about the different learning styles and how we can try and connect with people, because we all learn differently and we all connect with content in different ways. And it's definitely not to say that if you only create a certain type of content, you're only going to connect with people who prefer that. So, if you only ever create podcasts, I'm not saying you would only ever connect with people who prefer to listen, but you'll establish a deeper connection with people if you can just go that bit further to the content that's more their preference. So the 7 learning styles I talk about, there's the visual learning style. So people who love to learn from pictures, images, charts, photos. So, definitely people who probably love the quote images and the content that you would see in places like Instagram. Then you have the oral learners. Always that's out, isn't it?
Oh,
So,
Basset Hound.
yay.
That's what we have in our family, Amy, or we
Oh,
did
really?
until last year. Yeah, yeah,
Oh, they're so
yeah,
nice, aren't they?
yes.
So yeah, here, people who prefer to listen, and these kinds of individuals are way more likely to just be ecstatic when you launch that podcast or when you bring out the book and then you say, hey, there's an audio book version, people who love to listen. Then we have the physical learners. Now, I know this is a little bit hard when we're talking about the online world, because this is, we're usually talking about providing people with something that they can get hold of. Like we've got the abacus there for learning counting, but there are ways that, you can create more of that physical type learning by providing things like downloads and printables and things that people feel they can get something tangible from the message that you're presenting. Then we have, verbal learners. So people who enjoy like discussion, and like we are doing right now in terms of coming together on a live stream and having that opportunity for discussion and more. They prefer that verbal type of learning experience. And then we have logical learners. So people who, they want to see the data behind this. They want to see, not necessarily, digging deep into data, but they would love like a more structured approach. So things like checklists and infographics, structured blog posts, that kind of thing, to really help them understand the message that you're putting across. And then social interpersonal, so people who actually like to learn in groups. So obviously, when events are back, these are kind of people who are just going to flock to events and enjoy soaking up that learning in a social and interpersonal way. But of course, we can create that experience online with forums and group Skype and Zoom calls and virtual events in that manner. And then we have the 7th, so the solitary learners, so people who like to just learn alone and are maybe more likely to sign up for that online course. They're more likely to, prefer like a self-learning option, things not as much in their face, but more consuming that, reading that blog post in their own time, signing up to something that they can do. And this isn't to say people who just go off and want to be in solitude, but it's that, those kinds of learners as opposed to social interpersonal and the different ways we learn. So I guess the point of bringing this up and sharing this is because I just think it's important to think about when you repurpose content. And as I said, I don't think it's that you are missing the opportunity to connect with a interpersonal learner if you only do podcasts. But I think if you repurpose, you just establish a deeper connection, because all of a sudden they're like, yes, I did listen to the podcast, but now that they're doing this live stream or whatever, that is more my cup of tea. That's what I would like. So so
Absolutely.
that's the 7 learning styles that I like to